Reason why we haven't passed that.
Demonstrators came together in the borough of Kensington and Chelsea to put a spotlight on dirty money flowing around the London property market. They symbolically had money coming out of a washing machine. Joe Powell launched the campaign this week.
Of course, we're not pretending that overnight this campaign is going to be able to help in terms of where the Ukrainian people are suffering right now. But in the long run, I think if we can put an end to the dirty money coming into places like London, then we will increase accountability in countries where democracy activists and anti-corruption activists and journalists are pushing their elites to be more open and democratic. And if they're able to siphon off money from those countries and hide it in places like Thornwood Gardens, then that makes their job much harder.
They chose to meet at this spot because the ruling family of Azerbaijan owns some properties at Thornwood Gardens, and there are properties owned by Russian oligarchs nearby. They're concerned the money used to buy these properties in London come from corruption, embezzlement, or crimes like drug trafficking or people trafficking. Many properties in London are owned by shell companies, making it hard to trace back the original owner. Now there are renewed concerns over who actually owns these properties.
The ownership of many of these properties is hidden by anonymous companies where there's no public information on who the real owners of those companies are. When these companies buy the property, they just put the name of the company on the land registry, not the name of the true owner. We've been able to identify so much property because largely of data leaks, like the Pandora Papers, like the Panama Papers, data leaks, and then matching that information up with other open source information such as land registry or company's house data or reports in the press, by investigative journalists, and bringing that all together.
It comes as politicians rush the economic crime bill through Parliament, which includes a register that would require overseas owners of UK property to verify their identities.
The economic crime bill that is going through Parliament right now is landmark legislation. It's a great step forwards. There is more to do. We want the government to make sure that information submitted to Companies House is verified and checked. We also want the government to make sure there is an adequate deterrent to those professionals in the private sector that turn a blind eye to their clients' wealth when that is linked to suspicious funds.
Transparency International say around 6,000 properties in Kensington and Chelsea are registered in the name of anonymously owned companies. It's thought many belong to Russian oligarchs. The UK continues to sanction Russian officials, with the UK Foreign Secretary earlier sanctioning 386 members of the lower house of the Russian Parliament. Jane Warrell, NTD News, London.